All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Thurston County Fire District Protection District 8. This is our board meeting on February 10th, 2026, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. All right. So first off is public comments, and you have no public comments. So next on our agenda is the WHA insurance introduction, and we have Winslow Cervantes. Did you say that right?
Yes, you did.
All right, and you're up.
Awesome, thank you. Did you want to do any introduction to me, or can I take it away?
Go ahead. Well, I'll talk. I'll briefly introduce you. One of the things that we've really not had a good understanding of for a long time is insurance, and that is, it's another black art. And it's pretty hard for me to understand anyway. So one of the things that we really wanted to begin looking at is now that we have more career staff and everything, what some of those insurances mean as far as coverage, especially for those for disabilities and things like that. So I had real interest in doing some risk management as far as health and wellness for our people. Also looking at our community risk, our risk that we have for our assets throughout the district that we own and everything. And Heidi and I had to do a comparables for insurance for recommendation for the board.
Not very long ago.
It's not very, and it was
Last year.
awful. I like being pulled through a keyhole. I never want to do that again. So we talked with Winslow and his staff about a program that he's going to describe to you. It's more than just insurance. It's actually being our expert advisor on insurance. I like to look at it that way. And so, if you don't know how to work on your car, find a good mechanic. So that's what we did. And he's a pretty good mechanic. And so he comes from good stock. Jeff Griffin is your father-in-law. And Jeff and I have known each other for years. And Jeff has been in the fire service for about 1 million years and really involved with this, really passionate. And he's kind of the colonel that started a lot of this, I think, wasn't he originally?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Winslow, why don't you give your spiel then?
Yes, thank you, Chief. I do want to say it's a pleasure to meet you guys, and I do want to give a huge applause to Heidi. She really helped me throughout this process. I appreciate Chief and Camp also bringing us in to the both of them. You guys are running a great district here. It's very easy to work with Heidi, and she is working behind the scenes to keep this place running very smoothly. And I just want to, from our end, interfacing with you guys as a broker, it has made things very easy for me. So with that said, I just want to thank the both of you and make sure you guys know how much they do. So yes, Chief and Camp, I appreciate that introduction. We are a full service and independently owned insurance brokerage. What that means is that we have the capacity to do pretty much anything in the commercial insurance market. And we have extensive bandwidth within that market. What makes our agency a little unique, at least with my team or my divisions interfacing with clients, is that we are only public entity focused. So we're different than your mom and pop shop you can go down to and buy, a homeowner's insurance policy, and then a small business owner's insurance policy. Or you want to insure your dog, or you want to get some event coverage. Like my only focus is public entities, and specifically fire districts and fire departments and all kinds of first responder entities, including 911 dispatch, and then some police departments or police districts. And that is all I do. That's all I live and breathe. And what I try to bring to that is extending beyond the commercial insurance bubble as a broker and as an expert advisor in insurance, and really understand what all does a fire district like yourself need from an insurance standpoint, and then going beyond that into risk management. And keep in mind, your premiums that you pay, the district pays, that you guys approve. There are two things that drive those premiums: your exposure as an organization, and then your claims. Now, you're just inherently in a risky business, right? With its own variance of claims, frequency and severity related, and then you have your claims themselves that you incur or don't incur that drive those premiums. So, what we try to do is really focus on the claim prevention, the mitigation tactics. How can we improve the districts, and specifically its awareness of how to mitigate and prevent certain claims from occurring. And then how can we reduce the severity of those claims so they don't financially impact your premiums long term? We understand that hard times come and go. Some years are just unfortunately riddled with claims, depending on especially third-party types of claims. Some years are very good, but what we try to do is help the districts navigate that up and down as smoothly as possible and as affordably as possible. So I think we kicked off our relationship doing the property and liability brokering with your guys' property and liability insurances. Keep in mind that includes like excess liability, EPLI, directors and officers, which covers you guys, your guys' auto, both APD and liability, and then your property insurance, as well as portable equipment, and then all the policies that are bunched up in your management liability, as we call it. And so we broker that as a predominant broker with those policies. I think we made a move from the risk pool this last year to a larger insurance carrier that is only insuring fire districts. Very competitive program. I know a lot of your neighbors here in the area that we work for also are with that program. It's a great program for fire districts. And if you have any questions about that program, I'm happy to answer them. But with that came some more services, some more refined and focused coverages. But as an independent broker, we always want to make sure that the market is favorable for your needs and your exposures. And if prices are not meeting, those prices and coverage aren't meeting those needs, we have the capacity to go find different coverages. So we work with all the risk pools in the state. I think there's 13 now. There's only 3 that are really competitive for the district. One of them you guys were with for many, many years. And then there are 4 for-profit carriers, as we call them. They're national programs. They have a presence here in the state. Now we are with them this year, but we will always reassess as part of our role for the district to make sure that, again, prices are where we need them to be. They're in line with what the larger market is showing, and then that the coverages are always meeting your needs, and that you're happy with also the customer service. What's great is the district doesn't have a high loss ratio or high claims ratio, which is great. So interactions may be a little slim with VFIS, but our role is really just to facilitate that connection when we need to. Do you guys have any questions there before I continue? I apologize, it's a lot. I'm trying to save your guys' time. Okay, perfect. So what you guys have at your hands right here is a little overview of our agency. This is typically the document you see when we do our renewal. It has been slightly rebranded. I don't think the chief or Heidi have seen this yet. But this really goes into all that our agency is on the public entity side and all that it provides from a service scope standpoint. And then this is more of a high level overview of the agency, again, showing its general services, the scope of those services and some of the benefits, and then some of the direct service team that works for your team here. In addition to the property and liability, we also provide, which is also unique for an independent brokerage in Washington, is workers' comp or L&I consulting. And so that's a huge benefit. I know that was one of the main pain points for the chief, is really understanding the mystery organization that is L&I. I will tell you, it took us many years to understand it, and really, I mean, workers' comp is workers' comp, but the way that they run that program as a monopoly state is just very challenging when we put it in the perspective of a national worker comp carrier. So, but we have those secrets, if you will, the keys to how that program works. We actually have prior L&I staff that work for our agency on the claims management side. Now, again, we have very low claims frequency for workers' comp, but when those things arise, our agency steps in to help Heidi and to help typically your safety officer if they're kind of related in that L&I workers' comp claim submission, and then the claimant. We work with those 3 to move that claim through the system and get it closed. Really, we want claims to get closed as quickly as possible. That isn't always the case based on the nature of the claim, but that's what we try to grease, if you will, with the L&I loopholes that we know of and can navigate quickly. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So the L&I that you have now, is it state or is it private? You guys?
So
or you're just a consultant with the state?
Correct. We're just a consultant for the district on the district's behalf with the state program. We do have a TPA function, which means we can do third-party claims administration. That is not a viable program for fire districts in the state of Washington. I think they had a retro pool at some point. It literally went under because, again, we see very, very substantial claims in the fire industry and workers' comp. So we have that capacity. That probably won't be a scope of work we do for the district. We're more just an advisor and a consultant on your existing program and account with Helmine. And then in addition to that, what we bring to the table is the risk management services, which are very, very broad and very specific based on the need. And with that, underneath that umbrella of risk management is our health, wellness, and fitness and safety services, which I know the chief was interested in. Specifically kind of the PTSD prevention and mitigation tactics that we have and the strategies we have around that. We run some very successful programs around PTSD prevention. We've partnered with some national programs, nonprofit programs, to push those initiatives and some of those tenets of those programs with fire departments. And I know we're still connecting on some of those and looking to augment the district's existing program, and then see how we can improve it to be more supportive for the firefighter members. So, just any questions there before I wrap this up? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, all the details of our agency and the programs that we instill and that we work with are all listed here. And we're going to keep making sure that district's policies are where they need to be. Again, workers' comp, they have to buy through the state, so we won't actually visit that from a program buying standpoint, but the district's property liability and then any other ancillary policies like the employee benefits, we're going to be looking at the renewal time later this year with the Washington Fire Commissioners Program. Again, we have a Cadillac of a program, but we're always going to do our due diligence to make sure it's what we affordably need and look at the pros and cons of that near the end of the year. And then I think we're also looking at some of the accident and sickness policies and then whatever the policies we need from there.
So your services obviously come with a fee.
Actually, no, they don't.
Okay.
Well, depending on the program. So what we are paid by, and this is sort of the philosophy that Jeff Griffin instilled in our company over 40 years ago. What we are paid by are commissions that are a part of your premium for your property liability policy with VFIS. Keep in mind, you pay, I think our renewal came in around $94,000 or $96,000.
Yeah. That's right.
So you pay that premium no matter what. With these carriers, these larger carriers, they don't work directly with insureds. They operate through brokers because of how they're structured and how they're licensed. So you're required to buy through a broker with these programs. The state risk pools are a different case. You don't have to have a broker. You can go direct. But it is always a benefit to the district because you have an advocate for you working in representation. If we are with the risk pool, we would have a nominal percentage fee of overall premium. I think right now it's at 6%. Industry practice, though, is anywhere between 10 and 12%. So with VFIS, we are paid a flat fee of 10%. Keep in mind, that is paid no matter what. So we are actually paid by the carrier to do our work.
Yeah.
So there is no additional cost. I think based on your guys' Endurus renewal last year, we ended up saving the district about $10,000. And then we work off of a $9,400 fee, or I guess you could say fee, but it's just a commission in that structure or in that relationship. But our philosophy is we need to pack as much value into that as possible. And that's what we bring to the table is you're not just calling us up, getting a certificate of insurance, adding a vehicle, getting your policy renewed, and then getting some documents in a very low-level meeting once a year. We want to be actively here. I know typically the relationship with insurance is, why is the insurance guy here? This is a bad thing. No. We want to be here. We want to be present. We want to be reached out to. We want to be in contact constantly. And we want to help as much as possible with whatever's going on in the district. And we always want to be a phone call away. So
That makes sense. If it's risk management, you want to be actively involved and engaged.
Exactly. Yeah. I really, we cannot do what we need to do to help if we're only checking in every so often. So, and I know that we also interface with the district at the county chiefs meetings, where we have a large presence there, just because we work with, I think, everyone in this county now, except for Black Lake and Griffin, who are with one of the risk pools. But I know we'll eventually be working with them here as we work out some of our relationships, so.
And we've already, since the first year when policy took effect, begun looking at and learning about L&I claims management, which we had absolutely no knowledge about.
Right.
And it's been, for me, it was extremely helpful. So we are aware of things now that will make hopefully life a little easier in the future should something unfortunate happen. Also, we, as you know, goal 3 that we have for 2026 is dealing directly with our health and wellness program for all of our members. And Winslow's got a whole bunch of resources that we expect we'll be able to use as part of developing that program as well. So we've kind of hit the ground running, actually. And so I thought that the analysis he did for various policies and everything, he sat down and explained to the 3 of us what they were, and were able to understand and answer knowledgeably about what kind of choices we made. We did, or we saved a little money in that, but I think we've got better coverage now than we did. So certainly we've got an advocate, like he says, that helps us understand if we can manage it rather than just react to it. So one less thing I have to worry about at night now, so.
And that's our job. We want to take that administrative headache, that administrative, efforts, if you will. Like even on the workers' comp side, when we start interfacing, I mean, again, claims frequency is very low, so there's not much for us to do per se, except like on a month-to-month basis. But when a claim comes up, our job is to, instead of Heidi doing that paperwork, calling L&I, working with the adjudicator, working with the vocational member assigned to the claim, working with the claimant in some regard. Our job is to step in and do that for her and then give her reports on all of it, right? Because we know what buttons to push, we know what loopholes to jump through.
That is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so,
did that in
we
the
could have used that a
previous
couple
job.
years ago.
I would call L&I for our patients. And then, I hate to say this, but sometimes I had to tell them what the codes were because they didn't like, it's a code, here's the code. And then they'd go, oh, thank you for helping me. It's not how it's supposed to work, but no, it's a lot of time on the phone, and documentation, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
That's
so,
just it.
but yeah, if you guys want more information on that, you can always reach out or bring me back. I do a lot of presentations at board meetings, and sometimes I get the finger pointed at me, which we love to have happen, because that's our job. But yeah, no, I'm happy to come back and discuss more. If you have questions about a policy or questions about a situation and you want to pick my brain, I'm always here at your disposal. And yeah, honored to be here. And if you guys need anything, please let me know.
Nice,
Thank you.
that's nice.
Do you have any questions or?
So is this new, is this new, are you just newly doing that with the department, or did you do
Oh.
this for a long time?
Oh, with South Bay?
Yes.
So we actually, the transition occurred officially on 10/1, or excuse me, 9/1, September 1st. That was the policy year alignment with Endurus, because their members are all in the 9/1/9/1 schedule. So that's when we had the transition occur. I was working over the summer with all the marketing analysis and due diligence. But I guess you could say our official relationship began September 1st.
Yeah.
So.
Nice, cool.
Well, that'll take a lot of stress off of Heidi having to deal with all that and everything then. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
All the way from Kentucky.
Oh, you did.
When did you say he lives in Oregon? You live in Oregon?
Oh, yeah, I was actually in Coeur d'Alene. We work for Kootenai Fire. You may have seen
Yeah.
me at that line of duty death a few months ago, but yeah, I was actually over there visiting their new chief, so.
That's our other stopping ground.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
All right.
Thank you,
Anybody
guys.
else have questions?
No.
No,
Good.
no, that's it. Well, thank you for coming and
Thank you.
doing a
Absolutely.
presentation and helping us understand it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna stop at Johnson's Smokehouse.
Oh, the smokehouse on your way.
Oh, get some jerky.
There you go.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. All right, so next on our agenda is this chief's report. Ignore the last email. Thank you.
Thanks, Winslow.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, did send out the report last week. Doug did find the trip error in there, so good quality control. Thank you. But would be glad to answer any questions you might have on any of it.
Well, when I was reading through the personal management number 2, it looks like we had Paul Burrows. Did he retire? That's what
Paul, yes, he was one of our laterals came in late last year. And he made a personal choice that he was, he was 65 years old and just was a young man's game. And no reason, I mean, he loved working here and everything, but it was too much.
So it looks like we have Kiefer Hansen. Is one of our volunteers was he on one of the pool of being
Yes.
selected and
Yeah.
couldn't because we only could take, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Then that's great. Okay, cool. And has Kiefer already gone through all the training, all that, or does he still have to go through all that?
I have a bunch more for you if you want to.
Okay. So
Hold that
after the next step,
Oh,
okay,
hold your breath.
okay. And the engine, the fire engine is due sometime this month?
It's coming.
It's closer.
I've been told, I've seen it, Brandon and I actually touched it, so we know that it
cool.
exists.
Oh, it's real.
So now what stage is it at now?
It's done. It needs to have some equipment installed on it.
Okay.
And we need to, check our drivers out on it and everything,
Yeah.
but hopefully it'll be in service fairly soon.
Cool. And will it be at this station or?
Yes.
This one? And then the
This-
old new one will go to 83 then?
Yeah, it's a row of dominoes, but this one that's sitting out there in the app bay now will go to 83. I believe 83's, the one sitting there will go into reserve, and then our reserve piece will go out to Johnson Point. So it's the 82 engine.
Cool.
It'll be the only one that will fit out there.
Well, yes.
Because the bays are too small,
Oh,
too short?
the building was built with 65. and
Yeah.
it's 65 size engines, so.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Chief. Okay, then we have LeMay. Staffing reports.
Yeah, so January was an interesting month. We had a lot going on. Willa just mentioned that we did have Paul Burrow move on, so he is no longer with us, which adds a vacancy, obviously. So the good news is we're moving along. We have the 2 positions that we've been working to get filled. And good news is, yes, we can say Kiefer Hansen's name. Generally, you don't say names when people are processing through citing and all that. But yeah, Kiefer Hansen has officially received his formal offer. So we have him starting in. We do have another conditional offer of another individual that's processing. So I'm hoping to hear back the results in this week. Kiefer will be joining Johnny Barsh, who we've hired. Johnny was modified a Rory EMT, so we got him in on the SSRA, the Academy and racing, so he's going through the EMT portion now. Since they have EMT in the beginning, and then at the end of EMT, the Academy rolls right into the fire academy portion. So being as Johnny needed his fire and his EMT, he's going through the full portion. Kiefer already has his EMT, so he'll be starting with us as a member on the 17th. As a matter of fact, it's orientation, so today. We'll be starting and get him registered in, and he'll be in on that next academy. So then the fact that Paul Burrow had moved on, that actually gave us another vacancy. So the 2 positions we were trying to fill, and then the vacancy that just popped up. Timing wise, it's not the worst for us because we're in the process. There's a slug of people that we're trying to We have available to process through, so it's just simply a matter of adding one more, trying to get them expedited through the process as well. So, if everything falls as I hope it does, we'll end up having 3 people in the academy starting out once that
Same time.
portion pops out. So, yeah, with that, everything keeps going the way we hope, and we'll be back at our approved staffing numbers.
And then once they're in the academy, when would they be projected to be out and then working?
June.
June? Okay.
June will be graduation with them on their shifts, and that will have evened out what our most current approval positions are. So we'll have 8 career members on each of the 3 platoons, putting us up to the 24.
Nice. Good. Okay.
And then we still have our 20 volunteers, so that we're currently at 22 career, and then with the ramp up of the extra, we'll get up to our 24, which puts us at our existing approval, our approved positions.
All right.
Sorry.
Questions on staffing?
And I guess we're on to your WSRB rating.
Okay, so WSRB, I sent out, there was a lot, and I don't blame you if you didn't read through all the different attachments and the information, don't bring it all. What I did do is give a handout, and I pulled some snippets, so I just thought I'd do a Cliff Notes version of the results of our WSRB rating. Now, if anybody's not familiar, WSRB, Washington Survey Rating Bureau, they do the evaluations and give score community protection classifications to different departments. 1 being you're an absolute perfect department, 10 is you don't have a fire department in that area. And all the numbers, so the lower the number, the better the rating. Now, the good news is we still remain a 3. There was some bad news, but when we got our initial review back, we were 3.0 something, barely over. So if you go over 3 at all, they don't round down. We almost became 4. So we were able to finagle around a few things and do a few little corrections on some of the things. For example, TCOM, actually, their score dropped down. The 911 dispatch, they had some drop, which impacted us. If you look at the first page here, you can see the sections on there's water supply, fire department, emergency communications, and fire safety control. These are the 4 different criteria that WSRB reviews in order to give the final score. On that first page, you can also see we are a 2.89. So if you're lower than a 3, then your official rating becomes a 3. So the good news is we stay a 3, but it was a decrease because we were 2.77 in 2020.
Yeah.
So we actually got a little bit slightly worse. The frustrating part is in our area, if you see, I just put some hand notes up on there, down 8%, up 3%. As a fire department, we actually improved 3%. So we've done a little bit better for our part, but the water supply really hit us. The big gist on that is the water supply companies, the managers there, they haven't been doing the same level of documentation that they did 5 years ago.
Is that the ones out at the end of the point?
There's one at Fish Trap, and that's managed by the county. And then the one in Boston or Johnson Point is privately managed. So 5 years ago, when they went through and had done the review, everything was perfect, and they had all their monthly checks, all their hydrants, had done all that. And whichever reason, they were no longer able to show all the documentation.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
And there's really nothing other than let them know that this impacted us. And it would be nice if they would.
And it impacts them on their insurance rating too.
Well, I don't know that it does for
Well, the
theirs.
state.
The community does, yes.
For the whole community, but yeah, for theirs, probably not.
The county, I think they're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's too bad.
I think the best we can do is talk nicely and encourage them and let them know what this means.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
maybe do something different.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the basic categories, and then they have their math, they formulate it out, and they're weighed differently. And on the second page, you can see the pie graph, and this is how it breaks down. So for the fire department score, it's 40%. So everything we can possibly do still only counts as 40% of what our scores can end up being. Water supply is the second biggest one, and that's one of the biggest drop. So while we did improve our fire department portion, the other variables that had dropped still made it slightly worse.
So do you think it was whoever they had in charge of their community, who's on the board at that time, didn't know to take and do that stuff?
my best speculation.
And what about the county? The county, I would be putting a thumb at them if they're not doing their job.
It's hard to know, it's interesting because, those agencies aren't directly involved in the process. They're sent a survey and they're obliged to return it. They, may end up in basket or something, I don't know how important it is to the PUD or whatever. But for an example is the score for our telecommunications for
Mhm.
911. It had dropped substantially.
Mhm.
And we asked why. I mean, we just completed a complete replacement of the radio
Yeah.
system and
Yeah,
they're hiring people now. I mean, it should have improved.
yeah,
Doesn't make any sense.
no,
So, we asked the fellow that did the, survey for survey and rating.
Yeah.
And he said, well, that was their score and based on, it was never clear to me how they figured out what the score was, but nonetheless, TCOM didn't know anything about it. So it's interesting because City of Olympia had gone through it and they received that score for their score for TCOM.
Yeah.
And they didn't say a thing, so I don't know if anybody downtown was paying any attention or not, but we did. Brennan called the director down at the TCOM and said, what's going on,
yeah,
And she didn't know anything was going on, so she did contact the folks at WSRB and said, send us a copy of the survey, and they went through and they proved to WSRB that those improvements were made,
Yeah.
documentation, so that's why, but that's that sort of thing, if somebody isn't
If they
paying
don't-
attention or follow up,
Yeah,
the score can go down,
yeah,
just because they didn't return the survey.
could well be.
Yeah, something like that.
They did make a couple corrections that improved it a bit. One of it was just communication, I mean, too technical on it, but it had to do with their system, the way it was set up. And they were able to prove that, oh yeah, no, in fact, it does meet this criteria, and well, great, they just didn't submit that document
Yeah.
before.
Right.
And then that actually helped us.
Yeah.
back to third.
yeah,
Interesting.
I'm fairly certain that the water thing was the same.
Yeah.
Trouble is, it's a much larger piece of that pie and it impacts us more.
Yeah. I mean, that's that water supply thing, I would just,
Well, and it's not just Johnson Point and Boston Harbor, is it?
There's
It's,
actually only three, and then the school district has one that's on their survey.
yeah, it's on there.
They did work with the small community supplies at all.
Oh,
It was only those that had certifiable hydrants. So.
okay, so the county hydrants or whatever, or the ones that we would cross into City of Olympia and.
They don't
or
count,
City of
they're
Lacey.
not in the district.
Not in, so, oh, okay, so that can have a large impact then. I know that we had a bit of a communications issue with the Johnson Point folks. And so it's, as they change over their leadership or who's in
the
charge
board,
or their board or whatever, whether or not somebody is real aggressive or
Yeah.
laissez-faire.
Yeah, I suspect the county probably did what was necessary, but the community water board is run by a volunteer.
Yes,
And I know from personal experience, my father-in-law was the manager of a community water board. It's a thankless job, so it probably changes frequently and
Yeah.
who knows? I suspect that something landed in somebody's in basket and didn't get very much further, so.
yeah, and didn't know what to do with it, yeah. Well, it might be just something to reach out to the board and just suggest, we just want to give you a heads up, but then show this little pie thing and say that affects your insurance also.
Ultimately. it
Hopefully get
does.
some
Yeah.
interest.
Yeah,
Okay.
So on, let's see, the page back there, you see a series of bars.
mhm,
It shows how many departments and what they're rated at between 1 through 10 in the state of Washington. There are 646 departments in the state of Washington. And surprisingly, a little less, out of 3, we're one of only 75 departments that are rated at a 3.
wow,
On the next page, there's a couple of highlights that we've noticed. There are some things that are in and out of our control. We have company officers, we only got 67% of the credit. They do a rating on how many company officers, lieutenants you would have. And depending on that number, you get X points. Basically, they take your full credit, what could you get? If it's less than what they figure is the ideal number, then you lose points. So we're at about 2/3 credit. Interesting, if you go back several years ago when we were doing our 5-year planning, if you remember, we were gonna try to have 9 lieutenants, we have 3 on each shift. Some of that came from what we knew about WSRB 5 years ago, because we didn't have enough company officers then. And then, so that kind of was I know the question had come up about the benefit of having more lieutenants on shift, but we get 2/3 of the credit for that, whereas originally our hope was if we had the 9 lieutenants, then we're gonna get full credit for company officers, but it's where we are.
So now how many are they seeing? How many are they seeing?
Yeah, we have 6, and they're saying if we had 9, we'd get full credit. Department staffing, we got 77% on that. On this one, it's interesting because we didn't change too much on the staffing. The frustrating part is while we've hired 10 more career staff in the last 5 years, because that's been our goal, is to get more career staff. WSRB acknowledges every 3 volunteers you have has the same credit, one career. So it just kind of coincidental, but it does make the math easy. While we have 10 more career, we actually have 30 less volunteers than we did 5 years ago. We were at 50, sometimes 60 volunteers 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now we have 20 volunteers. So it kind of washed out. The number of career we hired washed out the number of volunteers that we no longer have. So it, staffing wise, I guess feels a little frustrating. We've done so much work to have more career, and it feels like we're so much stronger on that to not get the credit overall for staffing was a little bit discouraging, but just a notable point when we talked about our volunteer program. And then I have a little summary, 8 different points that talk about our improvement plan. There are some things, that are in and out of our control, some things like the water, communicating to the water supply and having all that. That's additional stuff. But the one I feel compelled to talk to the board about is the first one. It's our 82 coverage issue. And this is probably the biggest thing that we really need to be aware of. And the board is probably this back to how much impact this is. We dodged a big bullet. In fact, we dodged a missile this cycle because when WSRB was looking at our Station 82 plan, you have a couple different categories. It's really complicated, but there's a few different categories when it comes to acknowledging a fire station. You either have a fire station that's fully staffed, like here at 81, we get full credit because we're 24/7, it's always staffed, a fully staffed station. You can also get a partial credit by having a volunteer station, substation like Station 82. We always met that definition because there could be volunteers who go and get that. You don't get the same level of credit. The worst thing is to have no fire station. And we were really this close. In fact, they even mentioned that they might have to declassify Station 82 area as not having any fire protection because 82 is no longer acknowledged, was no longer acknowledged as a station at all. So we got lucky because we were able to find 6 names of people that live within 5 miles who are responders, and 2 of them are right here. 2 of them are in the resident building, and a couple just happen to coincidentally live. Some of our members, one of them's Don Prime, who it may or may not. be with us too
Jake's in
long.
Foxhall, is that not 5 miles? That's within 5 miles. Jake's in Foxhall.
I didn't put his name down, so it might be worth double
Yeah.
checking that. I
Yeah,
didn't-
he's right in Foxhall. I don't know what the street he's on, but he's that side of Foxhall, so.
Well, that is, I didn't
And
consider that.
I would say that would be within the 5 mile, pretty close to it.
Look. Okay. Anyway, if you hit 6, then you either get the credit or you don't. So we found 7.
Okay.
So we had that, that allowed us to maintain Station 82 being considered a volunteer station. Which, if that got turned off, it would have been a real big thing because everybody north of, 70th.
That was specifically a huge issue at Lacey, and they had to scramble because they considered the station out on Elm Highway out by Squally Reservation. And they had no career staff assigned there. And survey and rating came in about a year or 2 ago and declared that area Class 9. And so they had to scramble, they had to hire some people and assigned some people out to that site and everything, and it was a mess. And District 6 went through the same thing. They're off at Lake Fire Station, had 0 people. And they took a hit on it. I think their class went down for help or whatever, but it can be a problem. It's not unique to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would, essentially double or triple people's fire insurance premiums.
That could.
When,
Wow.
if that happens. So, just putting this down, I feel like this is something, like I said, district level of an issue. And I can think of 4 options that we can do about this. And option 1 is accept that, which I wouldn't recommend, but it's an option. Accept the fact that that could go away. And then we'd have to deal with, I think politically it would be wise to make sure we're communicating with people. Why did I just vote yes on your bond to give you more money and yet my premiums just tripled?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's an option. Option 2, hire more career staff, and then obviously we know our budget issues, so that may not be an option. Option 3 is a resident program, which is what we had been working on. As a matter of fact, that's what saved us from 5 years ago. This came up at our 2020 rating, WSRB, and they said, you're not meeting the expectation of having a Station 82 with enough people, which is where we ended up. Obviously, remember, we bought the property, we're trying to build in and have a resident program. For a multitude of reasons, we have not been successful in getting enough people with the right qualification in there. People either decide they're getting married or they want to have a life, or they don't want to live somewhere where they can't have a girl over, or
Yeah.
they don't want to live there. Or most of the times I've had people try to get in on the resident program, get hired right away. Again, be a firefighter, you need to be an EMT. Well, that's exactly who departments are hiring. So, that has been, to date, our existing plan to try to deal with the Station 82 issue is the resident program. And if, that may or may not come to fruition if we don't get people out there, it may not save us again. Option D, staff 2 stations, build the new fire station, the one on the property. That was the idea. This came up years ago, but we haven't really talked about it in several years. But if you look at the next one, I did a couple of maps just to give you a visual. Because our plan at one point was to, essentially brown out or close or get rid of this building. If you remember, the idea was to have Station 83 and build a new station to hit the 2 differences on there, still have our 2-station model, and then balance that out. So, like I said, we haven't circled back to that idea in a few years, but that's an option to try to address this issue.
It is still included in our master plan. If you remember when we originally, the step was to stabilize staffing at 2 stations, which is what we continue to work on. And then once that was essentially consistently staffed 2 stations, then we would begin to talk about building up a new fire station. And yes, that would ultimately solve the problem.
And right now, we're getting close. We're not quite there yet, though,
Well,
right?
we did about 97% last year. So
100% for January.
we did.
Notice that.
So, but that was, and is part of our overall master plan, is to eventually, that's why we bought the land out there, because it's suitable, it's a good site. It's enough there to put a fire station
Oh,
on
yeah.
it.
It doesn't need to be a huge fire station. I mean,
No, it would not be this big. I suspect that, although we didn't pursue it much, but that it would be built probably comparable to what 83 is, maybe slightly smaller. And then the administrative offices probably could be relocated over to our old site.
yeah.
And
that-
have a
we'd to
headquarter
improve
office
that-
there that's not necessarily a fire station.
Improve that building tremendously. I think before we were to look at something like that, we should tour other stations to see, like in Idaho, they just built a smaller station not far from where we live. And it's a nice looking station, and it's, I don't know what the cost of it was.
We spent 3 years doing that,
Yeah.
and, we had
The
a
one on
shovel-ready design
Yeah.
that could easily be used.
Oh,
So
good.
we've done
We
all
already
that
have one.
work.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That would be nice, because that'd save the whole footwork if the time came.
that was the idea.
one design for out there on 70.
Yeah.
It didn't get built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the maps, the red lines on there show how far out the 5 mile proximity goes, depending on which station we're looking at. So anyway, that's kind of the big area one, is that issue, and that's where we lost most of our, well, besides the water, but the fire department specific. Back on the report, we lost some credit because of resource allocation. You know, doing it as-
So we've got, do they do this every 5 years?
Yes.
So we got 5 years to get both stations staffed, 100%. Hopefully come next year, things improve and we can have a better budget that we can hire more. And that would take care of it. And then I would say within that 5 year, we look at possible proposal for a bond for a new fire station.
Yeah, it would have to be, we would have to use indebtedness.
Oh, yeah.
To pay for the fire.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't cover that with CMRR.
No.
But we've taken a pretty good chunk of it by having the land already. All we would need to do would be to design and construct the building, so.
And of course, construction costs, we're looking at double. I mean, it would probably 10 years ago would have been $1 million. Now it's probably gonna be more like $3 to $5 million.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was, one on 78 was just under 2 million, something like that.
And that was buying the land and everything.
That was, yeah, doing everything.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it doubled.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the rest of them are just in-house things, you know, some things we can learn about documenting training, public education. We'll be working with COT, fire investigations, training devices, pre-fire plans, communicate with the water supply company. And then potentially look at part of goal one, obviously, is overall staffing, to look at how that enhances too. So we'll see how our staffing counts can impact that improvement. So those are all in-house levels we can do, but that first one is some, it's gonna take a bigger group to figure out how to fit it.
Yeah. All right. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, we should move on.
Well presented, thank you.
Getting kind of okay here. So, next we're on to policy 170 PO. Oh, district strategic.
It's, as part of our goal too, looking at and focusing our COT folks and everything. It occurred to me, we did have a policy that talked about the whole thing, so I thought, might be a good time to establish a policy and a, rather high level policy and a fairly flexible procedure. So I've sent both out, don't need any action tonight, but would be happy to answer any questions you might have. I'd like to ask for approval at their next meeting. So if you have any suggested changes or questions, please let me know.
Okay. All right, thanks, Chief. So next is the secretary report.
Sent out the agenda for January 13th. The agenda, not approval.
The minutes. The minutes, yeah.
That would be the agenda, or the minutes, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm losing it. I got the right year on this agenda.
I moved that we approve the
Only because
minutes
Lillian
for
caught it.
January 13th as presented.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Any questions on the warrant?
None.
I couldn't find anything.
Good.
Okay, and then, we have,
I move that we approve the warrants as presented.
Oh, second.
okay, then moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. All right, so we're down to goal number 2, update.
Yeah, so our COT team met for the first time. Well, we've actually met a few times in the month of January. And we have a new COT team made up of myself and Lillian and Christian Baldwin and Zach Framaldo. And Christian is assigned to public or social media and anything related to that kind of messaging. And Zach is in charge of public education. And they are very gung ho, very ambitious. Christian signed up for various trainings and she's been posting 3 posts a week. And Zach is recreating curriculum for the schools and he actually, or the 3 of them went to the Boston Harbor Elementary, was it last week?
Yeah.
Last week and visited grades K through 5.
Nice.
And they, Lillian did a little video of it. We'll share that with you later, but it was very cool. I watched the video this afternoon to see what Zach did and it was very well done. But we're very ambitious and I'm excited. I think we'll be able to accomplish goal 2 and I feel really good about it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Good deal. Everybody. Thanks. Glad you're part of the team. All right, so we're down to announcements.
I don't have anything to announce, but I leave that open just in case.
Okay.
Just in case.
All right.
Oh, I guess we could talk about the banquet. Yeah, it went well. Pam can speak and Doug, they were there.
I liked the venue.
That's great.
The food was really good. And yeah, I thought it went well. The only little hitch was the crummy audio thing that they had. That wasn't,
The microphone.
the
Yes.
microphone,
right, yeah.
that wasn't the best, but
Kind of cutting in and out.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but things went smoothly and rapidly and
Yeah.
Chief contained his remarks to very few pertinent remarks instead of the long, torturous speechifying that he normally does.
That I'm prone to, right?
No, I thought it went really well too. I thought it was,
Good job,
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys,
My only hope would be that we have more people attend, and I don't know how to make that happen. You know, I don't know if it's the date or that people forget.
yeah.
Or that it was pouring with rain,
Worry
or,
about
you know, I mean, who knows? I don't
Yeah.
know, but I feel like it
Well, and it
got
was
less attendance.
Super Bowl weekend, so people were preparing for that.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
the rain, you don't point that out. I mean, it rained really hard right before
Yeah,
time to go and that, and so that might have changed things for folks, especially because of the parking downtown. So I like the idea of trying to do some sort of a shuttle
yeah,
to be able to get people
to make sure
you know,
that there's an
get 'em there and
opportunity
drop
for
'em
them to, yeah, mitigate that.
Do we have an idea how many actually showed?
40.
40?
Somebody said 55, but I don't know.
Maybe more snuck in after I counted.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there were people who came later.
Yeah.
I did-
Well, that
Someone
was
else.
another thing. There was a graduation and we didn't know about that when we scheduled it because it wasn't scheduled
We
at the
scheduled
time.
before the
What
graduation.
graduation?
Fire Academy.
Oh,
But they showed up afterwards, so that was nice.
okay.
But if we held it the next weekend, it's Valentine's Day. And then we'd have to go to the 3rd weekend. So I don't know if we want
Or
to
you push
revisit
it
the
forward a
date.
week
Maybe, yeah.
at the end of January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll visit next year.
One of the things we tried to do, originally it was intentionally set, the first time we did this format was set for Valentine's Day. So
Oh,
that's how it originally landed.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a Valentine's Day theme.
Mhm.
And so just for trying to have consistency, so, you know, muscle memory
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's always kind of the same time every year.
Yeah.
But I think you could pick any of the other 52 weekends and find just as many problems with it. I don't know, we're continuing to think about formats and things and what people want to go. And this was a result of the study that we had, recommendations of the events that we scheduled and everything. And so, we'll keep working on it, I guess.
I did hear a lot of good feedback that it was more inducive for people to mingle and socialize.
It definitely.
Before, when we had it just tables, everybody sat at their table.
Yeah.
This kind of was more forced that you would have to go on. We didn't have to do,
Well, there
but
was.
Did you not have
tables?
did you not have tables?
Yeah.
Before,
There-
the tables were so close together
Yeah,
that you
we-
could talk to someone, you had your beer in somebody's back or.
Yeah, it was more spread out.
Yeah.
It was,
More
yeah,
opportunity
it
to-
was spread out nicely.
Had some of those tall tables that you could, stand and have your drink and your
Yeah,
snacks and
yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, I thought it had a good vibe to it that way.
Mhm.
What did you think?
I thought it was really pleasant. The vibe was probably the best in about 6 years, I want to say. It feels like it was well received by everybody, by the how much effort was put into it and the location. And I think the date was fine. I think it was just happenstance that the recruit academy decided to do the same.
Well, the weather didn't help,
Yeah.
for sure, but.
Right. Well, and if the general consensus of folks was that it was better, maybe next year that'll increase.
Word gets
Yeah,
out.
the word
Yeah, word
gets
gets out.
Sure.
And I think word of mouth was our best bet for getting better attendance rates, so.
Yeah.
It was nice. You guys did
The
good.
entertainment went off well?
No.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was a bummer because they were en route, the band was en route and their kids were at the sitters and they got a call from the sitter that the kids were sick.
Oh.
So they had to turn around and go get their kids and,
Yeah,
that's just one of those.
So the band
things.
didn't play then, huh?
No.
No. So maybe next year, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we'll move on. Is there commissioners' comments tonight? None? Okay, then we'll go to review and follow up.
Actually, hopefully get comments back on the draft policy. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So. That being said, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting.
And I just have to bring to your attention that it's 6:26 and I estimated 6:25.
Oh,
Really good.
You were a little long-winded, weren't you?
All right, thank you.
I got it.
Oh, now I get to go to another meeting.